Ago, I was talking to my daughter and I asked her a question. Do you want strawberries or do you want shit? And here we are with our first inaugural episode of strawberries or shit. And I'd like to think that most Americans don't want shit. We want strawberries, milk, and honey for everyone. True equality for all. And then you have the people who literally are eating the shit because they wanted everyone else to eat the shit and it backfired like bullshit usually does. So now we're all eating shit. So fuck y'all for that. So on the King of Pop's birthday, I'm going to go over the strawberries that we could be eating at brunch because of Madam Vice President's plans. Unlike living throughout this hell state where I seriously believe a trillionaire, evil, robotic piece of shit fucked up our elections, democracy, allegedly. Kamala Harris's policy proposals and platforms centered on creating an opportunity economy to reduce the cost of living for working class Americans because, look at us. Her key initiatives focused on housing, healthcare, family support, and reproductive rights. Brucey McTinyhands just denied a housing bill to lower housing costs for Americans. I mean, he did tell us that he didn't think about Americans, but he has a 99% approval rate in Israel. To help with the cost of living and economy, she pushed hard for the first ever federal ban on price gouging for food and groceries and proposed eliminating income taxes on service workers' tips. And very important to note in times like these, she advocated for raising the corporate tax rate to 28% to offset middle class tax relief. She cares about everything that we're fighting for right now and had an actual plan for housing affordability. She pledged to build 3 million new affordable housing units through tax credits for developers and a $40 billion fund for local governments. Now, we're at healthcare, and I'm very fired up about this because, like I've told y'all, Trump's concept of a plan isn't working for me. I think he's trying to kill us allegedly. Prescription drugs, she planned to expand efforts to cap insulin prices at $35 and allow Medicaid to negotiate lower prices for prescriptions. She pledged to work with states to cancel $7 billion in medical debt for qualifying Americans. Also, for families and children, she proposed making a permanent $3,600 and introducing a new $6,000 tax credit for parents and newborns. She also supported federal subsidies to lower the cost of child care and provide paid family and medical leave. Obviously, she championed reproductive and civil rights. Madam Vice President vowed to sign federal legislation restoring the reproductive protections previously guaranteed under Roe v. Wade. And funnily enough, she is all about our voting rights. She advocated for passing the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act to protect access to the ballot. At this point, I just have to remind you how important it is to know exactly who and what you're voting for. It is important to vote for your best interest and not your whiteness or your desire for proximity to whiteness, because I know that some of y'all didn't pay attention to all the red flags and danger sirens. Critics and economists point to several key actions by the second Trump administration that have negatively impacted the U.S. economy. Primarily focused on inflationary trade policies, rising middle-class costs, and manufacturing job losses. Nonpartisan analysts and watchdogs highlight several specific actions that have created economic strain. 1. Imposed high-cost tariffs that fueled inflation. His aggressive universal tariffs implemented in 2025 drove up the prices of core goods, with the Federal Reserve estimating tariffs raised core good prices by 3.1% through early 2026. He hurt domestic manufacturing. Rather than boosting U.S. production, the trade policies affected supply and demand, and a loss of 108,000 manufacturing jobs in his first year back in office. He created market chaos with confusing rollouts, such as a major Major Supreme Court rollback of his Emergency Economic Powers Act. Tariffs forced the government to process over $144 billion in importer refunds, creating massive business and market volatility. He drove up health care and basic living costs and gutted health subsidies. The administration allowed the enhanced ACA premium tax credits to expire under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which spiked insurance company premiums. As a result, average monthly net ACA premiums surged by 58%, forcing 1.2 million Americans to drop coverage entirely. He slashed food assistance. Massive structural cuts to the SNAP program resulted in over 4 million people losing their food assistance benefits. Depressed worker wages and protections, and slashed federal contractor pay. He rescinded an executive order that indexed federal contractor minimum wage to inflation, effectively cutting the baseline pay from $17.75 back down to $15 per hour. He reduced farm worker wages. A Department of Labor rule targeted migrant farm workers by letting employers deduct up to 30% of hourly pay for housing, reducing agricultural sector wages by billions and inadvertently driving up grocery prices due to labor shortages. 5. Through broad executive orders, Trump temporarily halted a massive array of pre-authorized federal grants. He delayed infrastructure by pausing the flow of funds to projects authorized under the previous bipartisan infrastructure law, stalled construction hiring, and slowed regional transit updates. Are you tired of all this winning? I am. I guess we would have to ask Israel and Iran what real winning feels like, because we're paying for them to win with our tax dollars, and I can't afford my medicine. I gotta go. My rage is growing. Bye.